Greeting to one and all. It gives me immense warmth and great pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of Gale Training Institute, Noida. Before we begin today's talk show, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you who sincerely committed to this event to make it a success. Dr. R.S. Bhelumurgan, GM Training, and Sri P.C. Gupta, Chief Manager, Total Quality Management Department, is present here along with me for today's event. The Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas and PCRA observe Oil and Gas Conservation Month every year in association with oil and gas public sector companies to spread awareness about energy conservation. This year also, PCRA is celebrating a month-long awareness campaign, Sangrakhan Khyamata Mahotsav, Sakhyam 2021, aimed at propagating the message of energy conservation and fuel efficiency across the country. Sakhyam 2021 was formally inaugurated in Delhi on 16th January 2021. GAIL is organizing a number of programs across the country to sensitize people on conservation of oil and gas throughout the month. One of such events is talk show and panel discussion, which is being organized by GAIL Training Institute, Noida, in association with TQM Department, related to theme of Sakhyam 2021, Green and Clean Energy. So far, GAIL Training Institute successfully conducted 3 different talk shows on subject improved domestic cooking burner of PNG, waste plastic for energy conservation in association with Indian Institute of Petroleum, Dehradun, and the role of renewable energy in Indian electricity sector in association with Germany, and 3 panel discussion. One is electric vehicle in association with IIT Madras, another is role of city gas distribution in clean and green energy by subject matter expert from oil and gas domain, and third one is cultivation of sports in professional life by expert from Sports Academy Association of India. In today's talk show, we are having Dr. A.R. Shukla, President, Indian Biogas Association, who will be delivering on subject prospect of biogas sector in India. Now I will request Dr. R.S. Bhelumurganji to introduce the faculty and brief on today's topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Welcome and warm good morning, Dr. A.R. Shukla, President, Indian Biogas Association, colleagues across GAIL watching today's webcast, ladies and gentlemen viewing the recorded sessions of the talk show on the perspective of biogas sector in India. It is my privilege to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Shukla, superannuated as Advisor Bioenergy from the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India in September 2011. He has overall 48 years of experience in various domains like policy, planning, developing national level renewable energy, R&D and technology demonstration projects and dissemination programs and their implementation and monitoring in the country, including at grassroots level. Besides research, technology development and innovation and standards and development, these areas also he worked. He is a convener, member of Renewable Energy Committees of Bureau of Indian Standards. Presently, Dr. Shukla is the President of Indian Biogas Association. He is doctorate in physics from Banaras Hindu University and worked in various Indian Institute of Technologies like Delhi, Kanpur, Madras, and also in IIC Bangalore and CSM CRI Bhavnagar as a in various positions from the scientific officer, scientist, and postdoctoral fellow, etc. Besides the ministry position, he also published 100 research publications, reports, documents, and articles in reputed journals and various forums. He is also founder president of Biogas Forum India for promoting the cause of biogas waste treatment, biogas energy generation, and biofertilizer production. He is also chairman NDMI Renewable Energy Private Limited, Faizabad, chairman ARCA, Brandstech Private Limited, and Director General Vikal. It is pertinent to mention that He had handled the National Improved Chula program (NPIC) for a number of years and been instrumental in launching new biogas cook stoves initiative by MNRE. Further, I would like to share with you today Dr. Shukla will be covering various topics on biogas, such as biogas utilization options in India and globally, availability of biogas to generate biogas and organic fertilizer, uniqueness of biomethanation technology and its potential in India, biogas upgrading to biomethane or bio-CNG, including BIS standards IS 16087 2016. He will also be sharing his experience on CBG for automatic applications, piped networks, and cylinder applications. His talk will also include business scenario, commercial drivers, and challenges in setting up biogas plants across all the segments in India. He will further deliberate on technical aspects of biogas plant like hybridization, managing 4 F's of biogas production, prioritization, earmarking of biogas waste and policies of Government of India, and also national policies on biofuels 2018 with some business cases. With this background, I hand over this talk show session to Dr. A.R. Shukla. Sir, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Vel Burgamji, and all our colleagues from Gale Training Institute there. Of course, now with the COVID thing, all of us are meeting remotely everywhere, and that is the safest way of doing the business. That is the best part of it. Now, if you see the first slide itself, I have attempted to say that what all the bio-CNG biogas sector can do. So as a matter of fact, I always has been visualizing that we have to have decentralized bio-CNG biogas fields in the country. Instead of having centralized one, big ones, and then importing the gas, we have to have the decentralized one. And the beauty is that the resources for that are the localized biomass waste resources. So if we do that, then we are going to become Atmanirbhar in the gas generation and supply and utilization in the country. And with that, we will also be getting the import bills reduced and also getting the organic fertilizer, which is good for the plant nutrients, and the agricultural feeds are going to give us the organic produce. So that is what all we have been trying to do through this. But any sector which is very good, certainly it is having so many issues to be tackled. If it is starting, as a matter of fact, it is starting in the sense that at the large scale business, it has yet to get roots in the country. All other sectors are already having their roots. The investments from the public and investment from the government, investment from the private sector in the gas field has already been done. But as far as the bio-CNG sector is concerned, it needs to be done. And therefore, the journey which I am going to take you through today in my presentation will be touching various aspects of it. And all of you whatever position you are there, whatever situation you are there, in whatever manner you can contribute to realize this potential of bio-CNG, a decentralized gas field, that will be really very helpful for as a country and for the program as individuals as well. Now, if you see the biogas utilization options, it is a very potent fuel. We can use it as a pipe gas, just like CNG. We can use it for transportation, for a vehicular fuel or the auto fuel. We can generate electricity, and we can use it for thermal or cooking applications. And thermal or cooking, when I mean, then you can also go for the cooling applications as well. So that is also possible. So it's a very versatile fuel, and we need to compare it in terms of its quality to that of the CNG. CNG and bio-CNG are really, in terms of heat value, and the capabilities of converting it to different kind of applications, serving different kind of applications are similar. So we have to see that it's not like solar and wind. In solar and wind sector, the thing is that solar, the sun is shining whatever days it is shining in different areas, and wind is blowing in whatever season it is blowing. So nature is giving that, and that is free of cost. But if you go for the bio-CNG sector, then it needs input, and that input is the biomass waste. Now that biomass waste is available, and it is available in different ways, different areas, different segments, but then it has a cost. So therefore, the bio-CNG plants are to be considered and compared with that of the coal plants, because in coal plants also, the coal plants will not operate if there is no coal supply. So therefore, the production of coal, transportation of coal, making it suitable for putting the thermal plant, coal thermal power plant, all that is to be done. Similarly here, the biomass waste is to be collected from different sources. It is to be processed, make it appropriate to be put in the biomethanation plant. But then the beauty of this is that if we are going to collect this and use it in the biomethanation plant, then we are also going to tackle the waste problem, the pollution problem, the environmental problems which are being caused for non-utilization of biomass waste, non-treatment of the biomass waste across the country, be it a rural area, be it industrial area, be it urban area, anywhere biomass waste is there. If it is not processed, if it is not tackled, then we are going to have a lot of environmental and health problems. So therefore, that is the additional benefit, other than the outputs which we are going to get in the form of gas and organic fertilizer. Now, the uniqueness of this technology, biomethanation technology, is that we are tackling 4 problems. So one plant and we are tackling 4 problems, 4 in one solution. It is energy generation plant. It is a fertilizer production plant. It is having a CO2 production plant which can also be used for different applications, could be food, beverages, or the algae production. And then biomass waste treatment environment protection plant, as I have mentioned, thereby reducing the greenhouse gas emission. As regards potential in the country, we have 62.2 million tons, little here and there. If you add few more waste, it may go up. If you reduce a few waste, then it may go a little down. But on the whole, this potential, similar kind of potential is available in the country. And if this gas is produced in a decentralized gas fields and made available to the country, the lot of the country, the fate of the country is going to change in a very, very good manner for the country. And similarly, the organic fertilizer of 658.42 million tons, that is the potential. So therefore, the support for this sector is required from different ministries. It is available, but it is available from different ministries in their own way. It is not consolidated. And that is how the problem comes, how to handle it and how to get it together, aggregate it so that it becomes economical viable for the promoters. As regards technologies, we have all technologies for different sizes of the plant, be it a domestic plant, we could be a lagoon. If some lagoon is already available, we can cover it and we can produce the biogas. Or else, if we are having the garage kind of or bias kind of thing where a lot of waste is generated seasonally, as it is for the crop waste, this technology can also be used. And of course, the liquid waste, we can go for the CSTR and plug flow type of technologies. And once the gas is produced, then we can go for processing, for purification, so that the bio-CNG is produced. So we upgrade the gas to get the bio-CNG, and then it is available for utilization various applications. Now, upgradation technologies, there are different technologies, and if you get a vendor, he will talk of different technology. IOCL also says that they have developed a technology, but ultimately these technologies are to be seen that what is the cost of operation, what is the energy required, and how much the methane lasts during the processing. So if we do that, then certainly we are going to have a very good option, but it is to be done according to the size of the plant and the cost of the plant of the upgradation. One technology which, of course, when I started in MNRE, when I launched this program, then the PSA technology was available, other than the water scrubbing in the country. And with that, I launched it. But over a period of time, this minor pressure swing absorption concept has been developed. With this, the methane loss has been reduced. So therefore, this technology, of course, is now being used by many of the promoters. BIS standards, because when I started the program in 2008 in MNRE, then I thought that unless there is a standard, then it cannot compete with the existing fuels available in the country, various types of petroleum fuels. And for that, the standard, the process I started, gave a draft to BIS, got associated with their process in their committees, and ultimately, for the first time in 2013, the BIS standard was formulated. Then in 2015, the Ministry of Transport asked us to revise it so that the auto fuel applications are better meted out. So for that, we have revised it, and in 2016, the BIS standard is now available, and it can be used for any of the applications. As I mentioned, if we go for the pipe network, as Murugan Sahab was saying, that this standard is applicable for that also. Now the plants which have been installed, and what is the future potential? So we can go for the small size, medium size, large size, industrial and municipal waste, etc. So various sizes and types of plants, technology is there, we can use it. And ultimately we can go for different capacities, and total potential is available. It depends what we want to do. If you want to do for a small application, then that is one scenario. If you have larger waste, large quantity waste, you can go for the larger plants also. It depends on that. But though these there is a good potential, there is a good opportunity, then the challenges are there for the biogas industry, which we have been fighting it out with the concerned organizations in the country as association. And when I was in ministry, of course, I was myself giving solutions, making policies to see that the challenges of biogas industry are minimized. So with that, the demonstration program was launched from MNRE, and then it was converted to dissemination program, and support is available. But then the challenges are there. Now the market, operations, finance and regulations. So if we see in these heads, so for market thing, recently with the 2018, in 2018 when the SATAT was launched, the market thing platform has been made available. So one thing is available, but then the price available under SATAT is not enough, and that is how the segment and the sector is not moving. As regard operations, the main difficulty is of the feedstock. You have to ensure feedstock for the life of the plant, 20 years or so, and therefore this is very, very critical. Just I mentioned, just like coal, you have to see that the supply of the waste is available, and we have to have the skilled manpower for that. It is a plant. People think that the biogas is a very simple technology, anybody and everybody can do it, but that is not the case. We have to have skilled manpower, and we have to run at a power, just like a power plant or the oil plant or the or any other plant which we are having, the large size plants. And regulations, many of the things are there. Under GST we have the concessions, and other regulations are available, including the CPCB has reduced the requirement under the pollution category. But the main problem is the finance. Now the investments in this sector is not coming. If you see the big companies in private sector or the government sector, they are yet to come for production of the biogas or bio-CNG. It means that the policies of the government are such that which is not sufficient to allure the private sector and government public sector. So therefore the finances are very, very critical. And since it is a dirty sector, lot of dirt we have to handle, therefore it has to be costlier as well. But then the people think that any price, if it is fixed like 46 rupees under Satat, and people will jump upon it and do it, that is not happening. And this has been warning since 2018, before the Satat was launched to MOPNG, that unless the proper financing is done, proper support is available from the government, the sector will not grow. So you have last 2 years now, 2020 and now 21. If October comes, we are going to have 3 years. So 2.5 years we have gone. But though scheme is there, lot of UIs are there, lot of approvals are there from concerned public sector companies under MOPNG, but the sector is not moving because the finance is very critical. So how we have to do it? What government needs to do and what the companies needs to do and the policymakers need to do, that we have to see. So finance is very, very critical for this sector. So very good financial engineering is to be run. Recently, SBI has given some schemes, some other things are there, but still we have to see that things start happening. As regards the key commercial aspects of it, so we go for the thermal, electricity, then the substrate which is getting available, all those things, the digestate. People think that there is no need to think of the digestate. But every day, tons and tons, depending on the size of the plant, tons and tons of liquid waste which is coming out of the plant. Now that needs to be handled. It needs to be converted to fertilizer. For converted, if you want to have a dry fertilizer, you have to dewater it. If you want to go use it, then the huge lagoons are there in the liquid form. Then you have transport in the tankers to the fields. So all those issues are there, and if you want to upgrade the fertilizer, that is possible, that it can be done. So therefore the processing for that and facility for that is also to be created in the plant. As regard bio-CNG, CBG, RNG, renewable natural gas, I have already mentioned that there have to be a market price. 46 is not enough, and there has to be a demand. Demand is there because this wherever we are going, people are having the demand for the CNG, people are having the demand for the LPG. So wherever you produce, if you are producing in the rural areas, then now the LPG supply from the government policy, it is available in entire country. All the villages it is available, except exceptions where it couldn't be reached, but in small or big numbers, it is already there under Ujjwala Yojana, etc. So therefore the demand is there, but if we are going to produce in a village also, there is a requirement. You can sell it and meet the application where the LPG cylinders are going. If more it is available, then you can have the extra ones to the local gas grids and give to the nearby industrial towns. So that is also possible. Now, as regards potential business, according to waste, you can go for the sugar mills. Sugar mills are very good candidates because there are different types of waste are available, and all these wastes are good for generation of biomethane. The sugar bagasse, people were thinking that isn't only for the power production because the cogeneration technology has been developed and it is getting used. But then the sugar bagasse, if you mix it, the sugar molasses, both are available in the sugar factory, then it is a very, very good feed material for generation of the biomethane and the bio-CNG. So therefore, sugar mills, they are having land, they are having the sugar canes coming every season, they are getting the waste generated, and the waste are to be tackled as per the requirement of the CPCB and the state pollution control boards. So therefore, they are the very good. Similarly, the slaughterhouses, the paper mills, the agro-food processing industries, all are available for that. So dairies, sago industry, tanneries, all those are available the sectors where we can have business and generate biomethane and bio-CNG. Now the 4 F's. It is not correct to say that the biomass can be produced in different areas, whatever quantity we are requiring. Because if we are going to put our our land for production of fuel, for generation of bio-CNG or any other biofuel, then certainly we are going to get compromise either for the food or for the fodder or for the fertilizer. So food, fertilizer, fodder and fuel, all these 4 F's are to be balanced. And therefore, we have to target on the waste, not that we are going to cultivate it. If we are going to cultivate it and then use it, then somewhere we are going to get into the problem. And therefore, that cannot be thought. So that, but the suitable policies and strategies are required, and they are to be well knitted for meeting competing needs of land for industrial, energy, housing, institutional, and agriculture sector. Now, then how to make this sector a sector as economical? So for that, the hybridization is the mantra, because unless you do the hybridization in the sense that in the same area, all types of biomass, be it liquid, be it loose and leafy for biomethane generation, or be it solid for the bioethanol generation, or for the solid fuel pellets and briquette generation. So all that is available in the same area. If we are going to have one industry only for the bio-CNG, then it is not good. It is not going to give us good turnover and good business. But if we are going to use it for all the bioenergy production of all the bioenergy fuels, then that is going to help us. And once the bioenergy has been set up, then the solar and wind can also be put along the side of that. That can be done. So therefore, the integration is required, and we have to prioritize earmark the biomass waste. If you talk about to the solid fuel preparators, so they will say, I will collect everything and burn everything. But if they are going to collect everything and burn everything, then the organic fertilizer will not be available. So therefore, that is not a good strategy. We have to prioritize which biomass waste is good for what application. For a liquid fuel generation, for a gaseous fuel generation, or for the solid fuel generation and the organic fertilizer production. So accordingly, very judiciously, we have to use it after prioritization. Now, if we go for greening and decarbonization opportunity, it is enormous in this sector. So as I mentioned, that different types of waste, liquid, leafy, loose and leafy, can be used for the bio-CNG generation, and the woody type of thing for the second generation, to the second generation, third generation technology for the liquid fuel. Not that the best one, best biomass waste available for the bio-CNG, that is also getting used for the liquid fuels, then there will be a competition and unhealthy competition. And similarly for the solid fuel, you can dewater anything, including the cattle dung. You can dewater and use it as a fuel for letting your various types of thermal applications and systems. But then you are going to lose the country and harm the country by not getting the organic fertilizer required by the fields. So therefore, combustion, gasification, thermal application, anything can be done, but we have to have the prioritization of which biomass waste for what. Now, it was very, very good that the MOPNG I wrote to, I think it was in 2016, I wrote to MOPNG that the public sector companies of MOPNG come into the business of bio-CNG generation and supply. So they took little time in 2017. They got the biofuel subject shifted from MNRE to MOPNG, and they did very hard work, good work. And in 2018, the biofuel policy has come. And for the first time, the earlier biofuel policy was not having the biogas or bio-CNG in its fold. Only liquid fuels were there. But then the biofuel policy 2018, it has included bio-CNG, and it has been put in the category of advanced biofuels. And viability gap funding, etc., has been taught there. But if we see the implementation of the policy, then the liquid fuel, the bioethanol, is getting much more attention, priority, and financial support from the MOPNG, but not the biogas bio-CNG sector. So it has been left to the market, whether market is able to buy it, do it, it will be done, otherwise not. But in bioethanol, they are doing everything, though the heat value of bioethanol is half than that of the bio-CNG. So this is the level playing field is to be created by the MOPNG in particular and MNRE of the government. Ministry of Transport have done their bit. They have allowed auto as auto fuel, and BIS has brought out the standard as mentioned. And similarly, other ministries are also doing different things, including the Ministry of Drinking Water and Supply. Govardhan scheme is there. It couldn't go further because they launched it, but they did not do the right kind of policy, so it is not getting implemented. MOEF has brought out the 2016 order. By that, all the organizations are to tackle their biomass waste for conversion to including for biogas and biomethane. So enormous opportunities are there, and the Ministry of Fertilizer has given the market development assistance. So that is available. As regards Satat, all of you will be much more knowing about the Satat. It is just for sake of completion. You have the target of 5,000 plants, and average plant capacity is 5 tons per day, and CBG is 15 million tons per annum. Fertilizer is 50 million tons per annum, and 46 is the price. But we have to ask a very serious question, which I had expressed my doubt. And if the scheme is so good, if the Satat is so good, then why people are not coming forward? Why people are not jumping for it? People are not jumping for it. It means that something is lacking. So there is a need to look at not that my scheme is very good, my scheme is good, very good, we'll keep on talking. But it has been tested during last 2.5 years that it is not picking up. So all of us have to collectively make efforts and convince the policymakers to do changes so that the Satat schemes flies off. Already mentioned the fertilizer. Ministry of Agriculture fertilizer control order for the solid fertilizer has come. Liquid we are trying. Ministry of Forest has done, and then drinking water and supply. Recently also the under Govardhan scheme some meeting was there. They are again trying to revive that. Now, as regards the support from MNRE, being the nodal ministry from the very beginning for the biogas, starting from smallest plant to the biggest plant, including the bio-CNG was launched by MNRE. Still, they are providing support of 4 crores per megawatt equivalent for the bio-CNG for electricity generation. All that is available, different programs, but the things are not moving as fast as they should. And therefore the MNRE has to really think what changes can be done. And the plants, bio-CNG, biogas plants are installed, but they are not operated because there are the operational problems of supply of the raw material, and operation of the plants is costlier, and then the marketing is a problem, and therefore even if the plant is installed, it is not getting operated. So therefore, with my experience in the government in MNRE and then as association, I thought that let there be a generation-based incentive, just like solar energy generation-based incentive was given. The program under solar mission was kicked off, and now we see that everywhere there is a solar. So similarly here, the generation-based incentive instead of one-time subsidy is a requirement. Now, as regards, I'll mention about the creation of level playing field, the generation-based incentive. And the bioethanol, I've written only to November 2020, but beyond also some order has come where the price has gone further up for the bioethanol. Whereas in 2018, after 2018, the bioethanol prices has gone up, but the 46 rupees fixed for the bio-CNG has not moved. Can anybody explain why it is so? Does it mean that the cost of the bio-CNG production and supply and utilization and marketing is not increasing? And if it is increasing, why it has not been changed? So these are the situations, and we have to establish biogas grid in villages, in sugar mills, agro-food processing industries, other bulk biogas generators, sites and their integration with the existing natural gas. That is my vision. That is my concept. I keep on thinking about it, how to do it, how we can integrate with the CGD. Murugan Saab has already said that we have to do a training program for the CGD. It has been uppermost in my mind that we go for the CGDs, we go for the VGDs. The VGDs nobody talks of, only I have started talking. The village gas distribution. Why not? If the city gas distribution can be done, why the village gas distribution cannot be done? It needs to be done. So therefore, the interventions required, I suggest that the generation-based incentive to begin with 20 rupees per kg, over and above the 46 rupees declared by the oil marketing companies. And the biogas fertilizer fund is created by the government, and then which is the under the GAIL and the MOPNG, that inclusion of CBG under domestic pool price mechanism for natural gas procurement. That is very important. If we do that, then we are going to get a better price, because after all, once we are going to provide higher prices, where the money is going to come. So that we have to see. That is how it has to put in the mechanism. And similarly, we have to have the blending quota. That policy can be made by the GAIL and the MOPNG. Then we can have the injection, which we are under the CGDs and the VGDs, what we are going to talk in the training program of GAIL Training Institute. So that is that we have to, whatever technical problems are there, we have to tackle, we have to facilitate, and we have to welcome with open arms the bio-CNG by the CGDs to get the gas supply locally. Village gas distribution, as mentioned, this needs to be launched by the government, not yet, it has not been done. Let us see that if, of course, a lot of input I have provided from my Indian Biogas Association to NITI Aayog, MOPNG, etc., MNRE, whether anything is getting announced today in the budget being presented in the parliament. So once we do the VGD, the LPG cylinders are getting reduced. You see what is the benefit of the country, enormous benefit the country is going to get. So therefore, integrating VGD, CDs in with the natural gas grid infrastructure, don't do it one go. Create the localized grids, and as and when there is a need, you connect it to the local to regional to national gas grids, to industrial gas grids like the sugar mills, agro food processing industry. That is possible. So we need not to worry about that. So much money is not there. Let us not do in a big manner lot of expenditure on that. Create the small grids. Whatever excess is there, if excess is there, then connect it to the nearby gas grid. Then bio-CNG list of protein. Now that is to be done. Bio-CNG is to be included in the list. It has to be auto fuel. And when the policy is getting made by the PNGRB, then it is included there. Not that it is additionally somewhere as an extra it is put. No, let there be directed of DGH, Director General for Hydrocarbon. They should include it in the policy from the very beginning, so that all the aspects are taken care of. And then the energy, the introducing a per unit of delivered calorific value or energy value for different types of bio and petroleum auto fuels. If the energy value or the heat value of bio-CNG is better than the bioalcohol, why it should get the inferior price? And that is how the introducing a policy formulation or implementation of biomass waste mining area. Now, this is going to be a problem, and therefore I thought that a new concept can be put, that just like mining plants are there and mining areas are there, the mine allotments are there for gold, for coal, for so many other things. Similarly, for biomass waste mining area concept we can develop and we auction it, because ultimately the biomass waste will be a problem. Availability will be a problem for the 20-year life of any bio-CNG plant. So therefore, we have to try it out as a policy and implement it. That is required. Then we have the biomass waste resource bank. Then so that there is a supply available for the bio-CNG plant around the year. Then the bio-CNG based organic fertilizer distribution, utilization infrastructure, that is also required, so that the income of the farmer, the cost of the fertilizer, the cost of the seeds, the cost of irrigation, the organic fertilizer also going to reduce the cost of irrigation. Less number of irrigation is required for the same crop. So all these things are required, and it is going to help the doubling the income of the farmers. So therefore, the level playing field between the bio, petroleum, and fuels is required, and we have to include it in the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, if you do really, we are going to get the Atmanirbhar Bharat in terms of the gases of fuel generation, supply, and utilization. So for that, we have to go for launching the biogas fertilizer mission and the biogas Urja Khad Abhiyan. So this has already been done for other sectors. This sector is awaiting. As regards GST, generally there is a problem. In the petrol pump, if you are having the CNG as well as bio-CNG, there is a problem that is to be handled. And some suggestions are given here. I have given to Niti Aayog also, that this to give it to Ministry of Finance to see that it is streamlined. Otherwise, what happened? The higher side, the 18% GST is charged from the promoters. Tax holiday, remunerative price for the CBG, it is very much required. And the concept of solar mission of advertising, getting bio-CNG rates be adopted. In solar, government did not decide what should be the plan. They said that you auction it, you advertise it, and whatever the minimum price somebody is going to supply, at that price it is going to be ordered. Similarly here, why if it is it can be tried for the solar energy and it is successful in solar mission, then why it should not be tried for the bio-CNG sector also? Advertise it, and whatever is the lowest price, you get it. And for that, since so many ministries, so I thought the high-powered committee is required in the government to see that the things are put in line. Some other issues, if you are going to set up a new plant, then the CLU issue will become. PESO approval is also creating a problem. Then the CPCB and the state pollution control boards, they have to put it in the green project category or the white category of pollution order. So that is also a requirement. Now the other thing is financing. Now financing, we go for the priority lending. It is already available, and guidelines for the making available loans from unwilling banks. Now you go to bank, they don't listen it because they think lot of risks are there, and with whatever marketing thing, etc., we go. They say it is not good from the getting their loan back. So therefore they are not interested. They don't hear, and therefore the government has to intervene it. So that the bank's awareness is created and some mandatory thing is done, so that if any promoter is going, they are not going to deny the support of giving loan. Similarly, organic manure, the market development assistance available for the city compost, which is a dirty compost and dirty organic fertilizer, as compared to biogas plant fertilizer, but that is yet not available. That is to be made available. Now the pipeline infrastructure, we have to CGD and natural gas grid wherever there is production, sufficient production. We have to develop technologies, methods, and guidelines by which it is done in a routine manner, not that everywhere it shouldn't become a project in itself. And the RPO ecosystem, just like solar, that is also to be done for the bio-CNG. Single window clearance, people are for MOPNG, for their go Satat. Now those who are going to Satat, they are for getting MNRE. If they go to MNRE, then the same processing. If they go to IRDA for financing, the same processing. So therefore, the promoters are getting a lot of difficulties. So it's a general term of single window clearance that is required for this sector as well. Then robust supply chain management of biomasses, as I mentioned, it is very much required. And setting up decentralized plants for minimum. Now this is very important. Anybody who talks that I am going to put up 10,000 kg, 20,000 kg, 50,000 kg of bio-CNG plant, and it will be very good. This thing, just like bioethanol plant also, they want to go for very high capacity, but for Indian condition that is not suitable. because the biomass waste generation production is highly decentralized. And if you are going to take the transport the biomass waste to a centralized location, the lot of carbon footprint will be there. And then the gas generated, you take it back to the villages. If fertilizer produced, again you take to the back to the villages. And therefore the carbon footprint will not permit the large plants for the bio-CNG sector or for the bioethanol sector. It must be understood. But if you have the decentralized ones, then the production, the biomass waste supply is local, the consumption is local for the gas, and the consumption of organic fertilizer is also local. So not very big plants, reasonable sized plants are required to be set up to avoid the carbon footprint problem. But some mandatory things, people of their own, they don't do. You must say that although they are the waste generators, they they are mandated to tackle it with the bio-CNG plant addition to that, including the SPPs. Lot of electricity jugglers are there, so they should be told to have the biomethane. Wherever biomethane is produced in the SPPs, that is getting flagged. That is a sin. That is a crime. Such a good resource they are flaring up. They are not utilizing it. So all those mandatory things are to be done by a mass resource bank, and policy formulation and implementation to actuate biofuel mining area concept I mentioned, that is very much required to ensure the feedstock supply for the bio-CNG plants. Atmanirbhar Bharat, it's a very good term. If we are really going to become the Atmanirbhar, then we should go for the bio-CNG sector supported. Let government provide funds for that, then only it will happen. In whatever manner the financial engineering is to balance fiscal incentive, financial incentive, loan subsidy, whatever it is. But ultimately it should be economically viable for the private promoters to install the plant and run the plant for its rest of its lives. Now, no Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is successful if the biomass waste is not tackled. And luckily, the bio-CNG sector tackled the biomass waste. But then the support is not available directly to it. That so much percentage of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan expenditure is going to go for the bio-CNG sector. So that we can do. And then the pollution reduction obligation which the government has put, that is also going to be tackled automatically. Lot of employment generation, the highly decentralized employment generation, the biomass collection, biomass generation, the biomass waste processing, the biomass waste transportation, everything. And then the operation of the plant, running of the plant, distribution of the gas, distribution of the fertilizer, processing of fertilizer, everywhere there is employment generation opportunity through this sector. In everywhere, rural as well as urban areas. So that needs to be supported. Now, if you do that, what we are going really to get in terms of massive employment generation, 1.33 million personnel, and 35% we are going to reduce the fuel import bill, 27% of the imported nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium fertilizers, in there we are going to get saving for the country. And strategic requirement, if there is a strategic requirement and then the fuel supply from the abroad is cut, then it is going to become available for as a strategic fuel for including for the defense application at that point of time. So therefore this is a very good thing which need to do. And if we see that the scientific waste treatment, no other technology is going to. If you are going to burn it, what people say that I will collect it and burn it. There is a few companies, they are collecting for supplying for the burning, including the NTPC in the power plants. Then you are going to generate CO2. You are going to pollute further the atmosphere. You are going to transport it, and the carbon footprint is going to increase. So therefore, this technology, where in contrast, doesn't do that. It doesn't pollute. It only tackles the problem of pollution. So that therefore it is a fantastic technology. Our government must understand. But then we have to have the paradigm shift. Somebody has to do it boldly. Someone has to be bold. When I launched the program of bio-CNG in MNRE, it was not there nowhere in the country. But I took a bold step. So bio-CNG today is a reality. Similarly, the GBI, the moment you give it, the advertise like solar, solar you have done, solar under solar mission you have done, take the bold step, provide the money of the creation of estimated so many crores, 1,57,536 crore. So these surplus will be available to the government exchequer. Ultimately, if you go for the 5 years, then the requirement of funds which I have suggested to NITI Aayog and MoPNG, etc. So 1.39 lakh crores, if we spent on it, then the credit guarantee scheme and the generation based incentive should be sufficient. So we have to really move from the direct subsidy generation to generation based subsidy. MNRE must take note of it to go for that. And supporting mini biogas, because as I mentioned, we need not think of very, very large gas. When I wrote to the cabinet secretary and it was sent to MoPNG, MoPNG replied me back saying that the concept is good, but lot of finances are required. So as a matter of fact, lot of finances are not required the moment you think of mini biogas. Some mini biogas grids are all available at the village level in the country. So technology concepts are there. We have to implement it, and the GAIL can play a very, very fantastic role. Really, I must see that GAIL has got the unique opportunity to become the best public sector companies of MoPNG. The moment you go for the decentralized gas field concept and implement it, including the mini gas grids and integration to the gas grid, and also the organic fertilizer infrastructure. So bio-CNG sector is to be brought under social infrastructure the category. If you typically see it as an industry, it cannot survive because the funds required for this, support required for that will not be available. But if you see it as a social infrastructure sector, then it is possible to justify. So harmonization, of course, biomass resource bank already type integration of all the present schemes and required clearances, permissions for biogas, bio-CNG under different ministries. So that is to be done. Well, pillar to post, why the promoter will go. If the sector is very, very lucrative, very, very profit making, they will go. But the sector is already so weak in terms of its outputs and its delivery, then why they should run from pillar to post? Nobody will go, and that is why it is not moving. So some of the case studies, different plants have been installed in different areas of the country, and big size of plant, small size plants, different types of waste has been tackled and in different parts of the country. This was done at Jaipur when I was retiring. They have post-retirement, they consulted me what to do, whether it is possible to use the existing SCP, sewage treatment plant where the biomethane component was getting generated to convert to bio-CNG. And I told them yes, and I'm very happy that the promoters have took all the pains and this plant is a reality. So the bio-CNG, the CNG, the bio-CNG is getting produced because the biomethane from the STP was getting generated. One portion was getting for power generation and the other portion was getting for the bio-CNG generation. So it is possible to do for different types of waste, be it a cattle dung, be it a liquid waste, or be it a agro waste. This was done at Kolhapur. This was the last leg of my sanction on the 30th September. The 29th September it was sanctioned from MNRE when I got it approved, and 30th September me and then the then secretary both retired, and I'm very happy that this plant is in operation, and the IOCL also takes credit that they are running getting the gas from the plant, and they are running some auto fuel station, and this is the plant which I did in 2011. So 2011 I sanctioned, 2012 it would have been installed, and now the benefit what IOCL claims they are getting out of it. Not that they under Satat they have set up a plant from ab initio from zero to last level, and if their IOCL scheme is Satat is very good, which they spearheaded. Then one plant should have been, at least one plant should have been started from zero, and should have been provided gas for that. It has not happened, and IOCL itself would have put up. I keep on talking about it, that why IOCL has not put up the 10 plants during the Satat period. Why they are only waiting that other promoters will do it and the private players will take the risk. Why not IOCL? If this Satat is very good, I challenge MOPNG. I challenge IOCL. If it is very good, you should have started 10 plants in 2018 itself. You have not done it because it is not lucrative. You also know. So I talk in these blunt terms. I get pained also. But I talk these plain talking so that people at least they will get awakened, not for any other reason. All my friends are there in MOPNG and IOCL. I respect them, honor them, but the sector is to be supported. Then in Indore, the smart city thing, this plant has been done. It is in operation. If you go a typical village gas distribution, VGD, I had talked up, similar type of thing have been done some 10-15 years ago. And even now, recently also in Punjab, a plant has been done. When the small plant has been set up, they have the gas grid in the village, they have got the smart meters, and they are running the plant. It is working very well. So therefore, this type of project can also be done at the smallest level. This is the Punjab, Hoshiarpur. When I visited there in 2018, this plant is 100 meter cube, a small plant, but then it has all the features. It has the gas grid. It has got the meters in the kitchen, and the cattle dung is collected every morning from the houses, and then it is getting, and the fertilizer, the tanker is, you can see in the picture, tanker is there. So it liquid fertilizer being taken to the fields for their utilization. So it is possible. This is the smallest one, the VGD, village gas distribution system, what I talked of, and the earlier big plants which I have shown. So smallest to the biggest, the bio-CNG plants can be done. Of course, this is not bio-CNG, the smallest one. This is the raw biogas is getting generated. So this is the gas meter which has been done in that village. The lady and the person there, one male and female, both in different kitchens, they are using the gas, getting to the biogas plant using the gas pipeline. As IBA, we are doing so many support to this sector, and we will be doing our part for supporting the sector. Then what another thing which has been done in this one is that we have set up a lab at IIT BHU. We have set up a lab at IIT BHU where we can do all types of testing. And that services are available. Any promoter who is having the requirement, they can go there. These services availed from the IIT BHU. So with this, I think I conclude here my presentation. I hope that all the participants, the trainees, the persons, the officers are there. They will be benefited. We can take it further. I'll be always be standing with you, because it's for my from my heart. I always work for it. It's a free service from me. Anywhere I am required, I am available through IBA as an organization, also an individual. So thank you very much, the organizers, the GAIL Training Institute, and all the participants. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla, for sharing your knowledge on biogas. Now I will request Sri PC Gupta, Chief Manager TQM Department, to give vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Asaf. On behalf of Corporate TQM Department, it's my privilege to extend vote of thanks on today's program, Prospectus of Biogas in India. I would like to express my gratitude and respect to distinguished guest speaker, Dr. A.R. Shukla, President, Indian Biogas Association, for sparing his valuable time for enlightening us with the knowledge, experience in the field of biogas sector, and to deliver the talks on the topic which is very relevant on Sacham 2020-21 theme for clean and green energy drive in India. He also share his some case study of biogas plant installed in Kolhapur, Indore, Hoshiarpur, and covered the topic benefits of inclusion of biogas and bio-CNG sector in Atmanirbhar and Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and also give the emphasis towards inclusion of various ministry of biogas sector. I wish to express my gratitude to Team GTI Noida, BIS to organize this program in Sacham 2021. I also wish to thank everyone who involved directly and indirectly to organize this program. My heartfelt thanks to all GAIL employees who joined this webcast from various sites across GAIL. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir.